Greetings to our community and the Board of Education. I am Sarah Chaja-Clardy, the Director of Secondary for Teaching, Learning, and Equity, here with a couple of my colleagues to present to you all on academic and career planning, which is part of our Student Results Policy 3 monitoring report. And this is for our board workshop on November 7th, 2022. In today's presentation, we are going to be covering the following topics: our Student Results Monitoring Report language, where we've been with regard to academic and career planning, or ACP, our efforts to minimize disruption following COVID, what we've learned through the implementation of ACP, our focus on continuous improvement, and where we're going next. To begin with, our Student Results Policy 3 monitoring report language has two indicators that are sent out to our students to give their feedback on the use of ACP, or academic and career planning, in schools. Those two questions are stated here. I use an academic and career plan to guide my decisions to help me achieve my post-high school goals, and I feel well prepared for college and or life after high school.
Hi, my name is Craig Smith, and I am the College Career Life Readiness Coordinator at Sun Prairie West High School. Planning for the future is incredibly important to the Sun Prairie Area School District and the Sun Prairie community. ACP work has been done at varying levels through our middle school, upper middle school, and high schools, though we were not always in the systematic approach to how to best benefit our students when looking at our ACP. Some connection and planful integration within content areas, but again, not systematic. It was housed sometimes by teachers by department and other times by our counselors, and was broken down through varying areas. Zello is the technology platform that we've had in the Sun Prairie School District as it relates to our academic and career planning. It was a tool that teachers have used, but that did not necessarily have the technology education or the understanding of Zello that we would have liked to implement academic and career planning against or through all of our different levels. Moving on to minimizing disruption following COVID. The continuity for students coming back was the biggest piece that our school districts face as we brought students back into the buildings. For a lot of our students, they have never been in the building that they were being asked to come to. Some for over a year, leaped a full year. So why the academic and career planning focused a lot on our social emotional learning, reestablishing norms, but really listening to the students' needs coming out of COVID. Along that time, the career and academic was also going through some major changes. They were no longer taking ACT scores. We were a lot of work from home positions, so part-time jobs weren't as open to our students as they've been in the past. So we had to address a lot of what we were going through as a nation, as a state, and as a local community. Focused on the future and social emotional connections was where we hung our hat to make sure that we are onboarding and bringing back our students in a way that we could support them both in the classroom and with their post-secondary educational goals. Janet Thomas.
Thanks, Craig. I'm Janet Thomas, one of the directors of student services. When we look back on what we've learned as we do this work of futures planning, we understand better a few things. So we learned the importance and the benefit of deeper relationships between teachers and students through the implementation of a structured advisory time. So house advisors at the middle school, four-year advisors at high school. Just really important to understand that the benefit of those relationships between teachers and students when we're doing this work. Also, just the collaboration with content area teachers to integrate ACP work is really important. So although we have some time set aside in advisories to do some of this work, we also understand that this happens throughout every moment of a student's day to really think about building their capacity for future planning and post-high school goals. Next, advisory time is really that time for comprehensive instruction for the whole student. So comprehensive meaning that it is inclusive of social emotional learning, as you've heard us mention a few times, advancement via individual determination, which is AVID, positive behavior interventions and supports, or PBIS, and then academic and career planning. So altogether, that comprehensive view and instruction is really important for addressing the whole child and the whole student. Next, we've learned that student voice is really extremely important in implementing this work. One example of that is that students had expressed a strong desire for a deeper understanding around financial literacy knowledge. And that led to us exploring, learning about, and then implementing the EverFi curriculum for financial literacy. So just listening to students around how they want to experience their school career in service of their dreams and goals for their future and what they need. And then lastly, students need to fully understand that ACP as an acronym is really simply the learning and planning to help them with their future goals. So we use acronyms a lot and we use this with students, but we really want to use some more connected and natural language around just doing this work so that they have good learning and a good plan to achieve what they want post high school. As we focus on the future and continuous improvement in this work, we know, again, that ACP work needs to be integrated across content areas. So having some specific time, but also being really connected to other content areas and across the student's day. We also need language, and we need to use language around academic and career planning that makes sense to students across our system vertically. So developmentally appropriate ways to help students in middle school through high school and even elementary understand how all of these activities, all of this learning and all of this conversation applies to their schooling and their lives. The development of an SP30 course, 612, and also 4 credit at the high school to really honor and acknowledge the work that students are doing to complete some of these lessons and activities, and really continuing to think about the interconnectedness with social emotional learning, AVID, and other activities. And then finally, just continuing to focus on listening, asking, and honoring student voice to really inform this work moving forward.
So where we're going with the work that's been shared thus far has really but what we've been learning up until this point, and where we're going is focused on the 2022-2023 school year and beyond into the future. And as Janet mentioned, we have SP30 now as a course in our secondary schools for the first time, the same titled course, the same structure across grades 6 through 12, with the exception of Prairie Phoenix Academy. PPA teaches ACP throughout an advisory course period. So while they don't have the same title of SP30, all of the lessons and activities are shared from our college career and life readiness coordinators. So that information is consistent. We've also been focused on rebranding and building more teacher capacity with Zello as a tool to support student progress in this area. One of the things that we learned is that there are just different functionalities within that system, and through our process of having a more expansive use across every classroom teacher in grades 6 through 12, we are providing some training opportunities so our staff have a more robust understanding of all of the features and just are more fluent in the use of Zello with students. We are continuing to focus on the whole child, bringing together social instruction and social learning with emotional instruction and emotional learning, and then also academic instruction and academic learning. And that's the pieces where we are putting together that social emotional learning, AVID strategies, PBIS strategies, teaching students what's expected with regard to their social, emotional, and academic well-being. We're focusing on promoting a positive self-image and having strength-based planning so that students are able to achieve their life and career goals. Really helping students to reduce negative self-talk and promote what are you good at, what are your strengths, and what is going to be your future goals based on all of the positive, great things you have going on with your academics, with maybe careers and jobs that you have, with your family life right now. And so we're looking to be scheduling with a purpose and implementing 4-year plans for student course selection beginning in 8th grade. So we built that vision last year, and then in the 2022-2023 school year is when we were beginning to implement 8th graders plotting out a 4-year course plan that we know will change over time and building in a time once a year for that to be reviewed. But again, a lot of our lessons and activities are focused on who am I and what do I know about myself and where am I going in life? And so we want to be creating that big picture thinking for students throughout our secondary schools in a systematic way. And lastly, we're creating more opportunities for work-based learning in our schools. So what I mean by that is thinking about students that have opportunities to have their feet in the doors of their career or separate college opportunities while still being our high school students, and thinking about things like expanded opportunities for youth apprenticeships and some other programs that we have that allow students to gain access to either college experience and college credit earning potential while getting high school experience and high school credit earning potential, or getting experiences with future careers while they're still high school students. So there's a lot of an expansion of opportunities, as well as more clear information for families and for students around the variety of programs that we have. So we're really blessed here in Sun Prairie with the opportunities that our students have. And I think part of our work is doing a better job of making all of those things clear to our students and to our families. So we thank you for listening to our presentation on academic and career planning, and we look forward to answering any questions that you might have or engaging with you further at the upcoming board workshop on November 7th. Thank you.